What's up, guys? It's Raymond with another video. This video is gonna be a shout out to Stanimin Likolov, who I shouted out in my previous video. He's one of my friends. He commented in the section below that he wants me to create a video based on my routine and why I follow it, as well as which books have influenced me the most. I've already created the first video, which is based about my routine. This video is going to be based on which books have influenced me in my life. So I want to talk about that. So whoever's interested in reading and stuff like that, this is going to be great for you. So when it comes to books, I started reading heavily when I was 18, and then I slowed down between the late period of the year when I turned 18, up until 19. Then I kind of went in and out of reading physical books, audiobooks, documentaries, podcasts, etc. But now I'm kind of like I'm mainly in the audiobook section because I found out that I'm very good. I prefer to use audiobooks, or I'm more of an audible listener. I learn more. I take in more information through my ears than I do reading words. So and I think that's very important. If you're trying to gain information or you're trying to educate yourself, you need to figure out through analyzing yourself and your strengths and weaknesses as to which way you learn best, whether it be reading physical books, listening to audiobooks, uh, being around smart people, and whatever it may be. For myself, I learn better by listening to audiobooks, so that's what I do. So what I've done is I don't just use audiobooks or podcasts. I actually don't really use podcasts or audiobooks sometimes, but I don't really use audiobooks as much as I used to. What I do now is I just go on YouTube and I transfer the YouTube video into an MP3. So whichever videos I'm interested in, I'll just convert it into an MP3 so I can listen to it on the way to the gym, on the way to the shop, wherever I may be. Right now I'm listening to a lot of stuff to do with people, how people function, how people behave, especially I'm especially interested in the connection males and females have, the similarities we have, the differences we have between each other, as well as how attraction works and how attraction in general as a broad category. But back to Stanimir's request, I wanted to tell you which videos, audiobooks, podcasts, especially books that have influenced me the most. I would say the top books that have influenced my life the most, I would say at number one is The 48 Laws of Power. The 48 Laws of Power, the reason why I used that as an example is because it's a timeless book. You can use it from the day human beings were evolved, from Homo sapiens to right now and forever. In my opinion, forever, as long as human beings exist, because human beings have innate behavioral traits, and the 48 Laws of Power is based on history and how human beings have behaved in history. So for the 48 Laws of Power, and I'll definitely recommend Robert Greene as an author because he's the one who wrote the 48 Laws of Power. He's worked with people like 50 Cent, etc. He's actually got more books than the 48 Laws of Power. He's got the Power of Seduction, I think it's called, which is another book based on how seduction works amongst humans. He's got another book called the 33 Strategies of War. He's got another book that's collaborated with 50 Cent called The 50th Law. I'm not too sure if he's got any more books. If I have missed something out, just comment in the section below. But The 48 Laws of Power is my number one book because you can read it, and I recommend you do read it over and over and over again. The more you read it, the better you will be equipped to use whatever's in the book, and it will prevent you from making really hard mistakes as well. The more you read it, and the more you understand it, and the more you practice it. I would say the second book is anything to do with Robert Greene, to be honest, because every single book that he creates, if you watch videos where he's been interviews, he even said, and I quote, when he wrote the 48 Laws of Power, he said, I felt like I was gonna die. The reason why I said that I feel is because he spent so much time and effort, like, focusing on writing the book. I think it took him 6 months to a year, or 3 years, or something like that, to write the book. But he spends such a tremendous amount of effort, not just time, but focus on creating his books. Like, he's not really bothered with how much money the book makes, but he's but how much impact the book has on the people reading it. So I'll definitely say any book by Robert Greene is amazing, and you'll be able to tell this when you're reading his books. Um, Other books that have influenced me, I would definitely say books to do with economics. Economics is a really powerful subject to me in particular because feel like my brain operates in a very empirical manner. Like I'm very scientific. and factual in terms of the way I understand the world, and less emotional when it comes to coming to terms with events in the world. So economics is a very empirical science, and it studies human beings, which I'm very interested in, and how they behave in terms of economic resources, etc. And economics has actually allowed me to branch off my passion and interests into other fields, such as mating, the way human beings, males and females, come together, and how they're attracted to each other, and how economic resources influenced whether how much attraction a male has to a female or a female has to a man. So definitely a book, any book on economics. I'll definitely recommend some. There's one book called Economics in One Lesson. You can find it on YouTube. The whole audiobook's there. I think it's free. There's another book. Just any economics book. There's economics books coming out every single year now. Like, they're redoing them. They're just really good. So I'll definitely recommend economics, especially for you, Stan, because Stan, you tend to have a scientific mind more so than I do. So I think you'll definitely benefit from listening to economic books. And I know you're more of a visual reader. You like to read physical books. So any economics books. I'm actually giving away my entire collection of books because they're just taking up so much space. I think I have over 1,000 books. So feel free to take as much books as you want. Any other books I would recommend that have helped me? I would definitely recommend historical books. Historical books are probably the most important, because if you want to learn anything about the current time you're living in, history is definitely the option. Because I would even say more so than economics, because if you read history and you can understand how humans behave, how empires work, how empires crumble, how empires fail, how empires flourish, why empires last so long, how human beings have risen to the top of the hierarchy of human society, how they create their own cults, why human beings follow certain human beings like Hitler. Just so much you can learn about history. I mean, you can learn almost everything about history. You can learn about the history of science, like Galileo. Before Galileo, everybody thought that the world was flat. He proved otherwise. Like, there's so much things you can learn about history that can branch off into other fields like science, economics, etc. So I hope this video has helped people like Stan and people in general that might not have had an interest in reading books. Reading books is very good, and I feel like a lot of people don't read books because they feel like it takes a lot of time. I mean, do what I do, just download an audiobook. You don't even have to pay for it. Just there's apps like I think one of the apps I have for audiobooks is called The Audiobook, or yeah, something like that, theaudiobook.com or audiobook.com. And they give away free audiobooks. They have a whole entire list of free audiobooks. They have very good ones from antiquity, like ancient Greece, like Plato, Aristotle, loads of different philosophers. They have scientific books. They have business books. Like, education is such a powerful thing. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and got value out of it. Comment any of your suggestions in the comment section below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.